Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country road, country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country road. Now, if you haven't seen the film, you won't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But if you have seen the film, then you might know what I'm talking about. Because that scene, I will say, really was unexpected, but I really enjoyed it. And it was a good emotional moment. And I give props to a sequel like The Kingsman, The Golden Circle for doing that. Because certain movies certainly did not do that this year. Certain sequels certainly did not do that this year. Now, of course, Kingsman, The Golden Circle is a Matthew Vaughn film. He directed the first movie. And Kingsman, The Secret Service was a film I did not know anything about the comic book. Really was impressed by it. Really enjoyed Kingsman. The sequel, I heard a lot of bad things about it. And I can understand some of the bad things about it. Especially the running time being 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is a bit much with some other aspects. So I'm not going to sit here and call it a perfect movie. There are problems I have. But I probably would say I was entertained with the film enough, and it made me smile or smirk enough. And that scene especially, which I'll get to, for those who are like, what the fuck are you talking about with the Country Road John Denver song? It's a better usage of that than Alien Covenant, I'll tell you that much. 100 times better. Hey, what's that girl from Prometheus that, oh, she kind of played the music, but then some of the shit was cut out, and you see it on YouTube. I would put in the top 10 this movie. Now, it'd probably be at the bottom, or 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. I'm not sure where. But at the end of the day, I was smiling. I'm like, you know what? I'm not mad about this. I had fun with this movie. And R-rated action movies are some of my favorite types of movies. That's the stuff I grew up with the most. I love horror films, but I would honestly say I probably grew up more with action movies, especially R-rated action films. I'm a sucker for them. Doesn't mean I always like them, but I'm a sucker for them. Now, I thought the cast did a good job. You have the lead kid, Taron Egerton. He comes back. I thought he did a really good job as Eggsy, like he did in the first movie. Colin Firth comes back, which is cool because I liked him in the first movie. I was bummed when he died. His character died. So it's cool that because of this film, in continuity, that character is alive with how they do it. And that's cool with me because I like the character. Jeff Bridges makes an appearance. Channing Tatum, yes, he does make an appearance. Elton John makes an appearance, which got a couple smiles out of me. Mark Strong, he comes back as Merlin. Julianne Moore, she plays the villain. And her villain was a bit interesting, which I'll get into why. Halle Berry doesn't have much to do, but she's in it for little bits and pieces. And what I liked about the film, like I said, I thought the cast did a good job. You have this other guy, because what it is the Kingsman, most of their people get fucked up and their places get bombed, and the few that are left go to the U.S. to the U.S. version of the Kingsman called the Statesman. And the Statesman, you have Jeff Bridges once again doing the Southern thing. Remember when Jeff Bridges wasn't just a Southern guy? Like, whenever I remember Starman, he wasn't Southern guy. Great, I love the Big Lebowski and the dude, and he did fine in the role here, but can he just play another character that's not a Southern? Just saying, Jeff Bridges, I'd love to see that again. Or have you just adopted the Southern thing forever now? Just a little thing. But this guy named Pedro Pascal as Agent Wisty, I thought this guy did a good job. I swear he's a spitting image of a young Burt Reynolds. And I guess he's on Game of Thrones, which I don't watch Game of Thrones. So he was in The Great Wall, which I did not see. Yeah, I don't remember much of anything. Might be the first time I've seen him in something. But I thought he did fine. He did a good job. When the action scenes are there, they're well handled. There's an opening car chase scene that I thought was a lot of fun. The finale with Taron Egerton and Colin Firth, I thought was really entertaining. I liked the way it was filmed. I liked certain violent bits in the movie, which brought a smile to my face. Elton John, some of the stuff. It was silly, but I will admit I got a couple smirks out of it. That scene that I'm talking about really was a good emotional sequence, which I'll get to. And even the plot itself, what the bad guys are doing, it's kind of like the first film. It's a bit unique, and it's not a typical... I haven't seen too many movies with this kind of plot from the bad guys. Bruce Greenwood, who's been in a lot of stuff, he plays the President of the United States. And I have to get into spoilers, so that's just how I do reviews. I did like the opening sequence. I liked that the character of Eggsy is actually with that princess from the last movie, and they're together. So I like that wasn't just a throwaway thing. I like that something came out of that, which made it more of a link to the first movie. I like that his character, sometimes in sequels, the character will go right back to where he was in the first movie. Karate Part 3 did that, for one example. But I like that it shows that he's not just the same character that he was at the beginning of the first movie, that he has elevated himself, and I thought he did a really good job. There was a guy in the first movie who was a trainee, but then he failed, and then he started working with the bad guys. He's back in this movie, but because of certain things, his vocal cords and his arm got fucked up, so he has this robot arm. And there's definitely a bit more sci-fi elements in this movie, which I'm sure will turn certain people off. But that made it more fun to me. I'm down for it. Let's see what happens next in this crazy world of the Kingsman. But I thought it was an entertaining action sequence. Both of them fighting each other within the car and dodging on the outside of the door as the vehicle's coming this way. And I'm not going to go through every detail of the action scene, but I thought it was a fun action sequence. The places get bombed. It's just him and Merlin. It kind of sucked that the female Roxy, that character in the first movie, is kind of blown up. And granted, it's not like it was a character that I'm really cared one way. Like, she was fine in the first movie. I'm not sure why they killed her off. They don't reference it. They reference like a teeny bit, but not too much. But I can't say it bugged me too much, because it's not like, oh, I love that character in the first movie. It was just like, she was fine in the first movie, but again, I just found it strange that they killed her off so easily from when the bad guys bomb everything. So pretty much Taron Egerton and Mark Strong as the helper guy, Merlin, they did drawing and they found out, oh, we have people in the U.S. that can help us called the Statesman. And they did a little fight scene with Channing Tatum, and they meet the other statesmen. They find out that Colin Firth is still alive, and they show how that happened. Which again is cool, because I liked his character in the first movie. It was a bummer that he died in the first movie. I'm like, oh cool, because of this film in continuity, this guy is alive. I'm that type of weird guy with movies. When I watch a movie, I want to get into the world of the characters. I want to be able to like the characters, so that if they live, cool, and if they die, oh man, that sucks. That's what I want within a movie, because it's escapism. And it was cool that, oh, okay, this character did survive in this very, very sci-fi bullshit way, but, you know, either you buy into it or you don't. With this gel thing, and so he's alive, but he's got an eye patch, and he has amnesia. After that, you get more about the bad guy, Julianne Moore's character, which was interesting. Like, she was such a sweet girl, and yet she lives in this weird 50s town, like retro 50s town in the middle of a jungle. And she's a drug supplier, and she has these two robot dogs, and then she has this big meat grinder that she makes one person put the other in there, and it's pretty violent. Like, you see the blades ticking, and then you see the meat coming out, and she makes it into a hamburger patty, cooks it, and makes the other guy eat it, I guess to show his willingness to be a part of the team. That's not something I expected, so I give credit to the movie for that. I'm like, okay, that threw me for a loop. See, unlike The Last Jedi, that's a swerve that I like. The Last Jedi was just a bunch of swerves that was bullshit. Here it's swerves that were actually kind of fun. At least on that front. That swerve was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. You have the villain's plot, which I thought was a bit different, interesting too, where she is a drug supplier. A lot of people bought different kinds of drugs, whether it be weed or crack or cocaine or whatever, and she has laced them with some kind of poison, and it develops this blue rash that shows that you have it. And you go through these stages. You get paralyzed, or you get, and after that you die, and then your eyeballs explode out of your head. And then the president, Bruce Greenwood, he goes, okay, fine, I'll go to your demands. Because her demands is legalize it. Legalize drugs so she can make more profit. Otherwise, all these people will die. And the president goes, okay. Then secretly goes, you know what, let's just let these people die. Because, hey, they're drug users. They're drug users, and I could win the war on drugs right here. No drug users, don't have to worry about drugs. Hey, it's their choice. They're the ones who took that, you know, they're criminals. It's illegal. They took that. They're criminals. And, I don't know, just the whole thing was not a typical thing I've seen in a movie. I can't remember a movie that I've quite seen a plot like that before. Which I thought, okay, that's a bit interesting. That's a little bit unique. I appreciate that. Pedro Pascal as Agent Whiskey. Again, acting-wise, he did fine. He has some nice action scenes where he has this lasso that's like a laser lasso. He's good with these six-shooters, and he lassos a guy and cuts him in half. Colin Firth's character, I kind of wish his character got back on the saddle, so to speak, earlier in the film. Because it takes a while before he regains his memory. And then, even when he regains his memory, his senses are not 100%. Like, he tries to fight in the bar like he did in the first movie, but then he kind of fails, and the Burt Reynolds-looking guy succeeds. But I kind of get why they did that because of the ending of the film. Because I like the character of Colin Firth and Taron Egerton, I wanted them to do more physically in the movie. Like for the lead guy, other than the beginning of the film, he doesn't really do much physically until the end of the film. And it's a 2-hour and 20-minute movie. I think that was a wrong choice. Because the only other action scene I could think of, there's the opening car chase scene, which I liked. There's a little fight that him and Alström have with Channing Tatum, which you didn't need Channing Tatum in the movie. Because his character, he's in for like 3-4 scenes, and then he gets that blue rash, and then they put him in what's, you might as well call cryo sleep. You didn't need him in the movie, except then at the very end of the film, he's going to be one of the Kingsmen, which I don't get why. Because he doesn't really do much. Like, again, he only has like 3-4 scenes, then he's sick, and then, oh hey, he's cured when everyone else gets cured. So that's a character that John been completely cut out. And I didn't like the idea that Channing Tatum beat both of them, beat both Taron Egerton's character and Alström's character. I thought, well, that's kind of lame. Again, the whole Channing Tatum character could have been cut out. You have when Taron Egerton is trying to get this antidote along with the Burt Reynolds guy, and they're going down this ski slope in one of those, I don't know what you call those places you sit at. And the bad guy sort of makes a twirl around, and then a line cable breaks, and then slides down the mountain. And then you get the finale of the film, which the finale of the film is a lot of fun. I just wish that Colin Firth and Taron Egerton had more to do, action-wise. It's not like there's a scene that stand out like the church scene in the first movie. When I saw that, I went, oh shit, this is amazing. There's not really any of that here, but again, the open scene is fun, and the finale battle is fun. But in between, there's filler stuff that could have been cut out, which again gets to the running time of the movie. And that's why I'm not sure where I would put it. Well, I know it would be somewhere, but I'm still thinking about it. Because it does have its issues, and it is a step down from the first movie. But again, the stuff I liked, I really liked. I really liked the cast. I really liked that Colin Firth's character of Harry is alive. I liked that character. Didn't want his character dead. I liked the action scene where, at the end, where both of them are helping each other out, fucking up all these bad guys, and the Eggsy character has a little bit of the Desperado El Mariachi with the suitcase with a missile shooting out, and they're able to fight all these bad guys. And then Colin Firth battling these robot dogs with the help of Elton John. Elton John, I can see some people groaning at the inclusion of it. The reason he's in it is because in the first movie, when all these celebrities were being taken because Sam Jackson's character, Julianne Moore, stole Elton John for herself, and in the midst of the chaos, and has Elton John play for her. And there was a fun moment where she's showing, yes, this is a cure, and they show Elton John has been cured, and there's a guy in his cell, and he tells the guy, get the fuck out of my room. No, get the fuck out. It was fun to see Elton John like that. So again, that might be something that people may groan at, but you know, Elton John is getting up there in age. It was cool to see him have fun. It didn't bother me as much as it did other people. Yeah, you got a couple smirks out of me. And again, the plot of the drugs and the president going, you know what, well, they're criminals. They took the illegal drugs on their own. So I liked that it made the heroes more, in a weird way, humanized, because they don't just save completely innocent people. They save, hey, yeah, they messed up, but that doesn't mean they deserve to die. So I like that, made it a little bit interesting. And I thought it was a good-looking movie. It was well filmed by Matthew Vaughn. You know, a lot of the characters I liked. The scene I was referencing at the beginning of the film I really enjoyed. Uh, it's one of the more heartfelt scenes in any movie this year for me, where Mark Strong's character, who I really liked in the first one and this one, there's these mines, and the lead kid stepped on one. And Mark Strong goes, okay, you know what, I'm going to dismantle it, and I'll get you out of here. And he's like, okay. And then Colin Firth and the lead kid jump as if it's going to explode, and it's not. Mark Strong was lying. He took the mine himself. He stepped on it. And I like that the lead guy doesn't want to leave, and Mark Strong says, hey, you guys got a job to do. And there was a scene earlier where he mentioned to Colin Firth that he was a fan of John Denver. And so, you have all these bad guys with machine guns, and Mark Strong starts singing Country Road by John Denver. And one guy comes up, and he headbutts him, knocks him out, and then he starts singing again, louder. And I like the moments where he looks at Colin Firth, and Colin Firth smiles and gives a nod, and then he looks at the Taron Egerton's character, and I thought the actor did a good job where you see the emotion in his eyes and kind of nods at him, and Mark Strong is just singing and just goes out like a badass. Very heartfelt, very sad, but he goes out like a rock star, man. Like, just singing like crazy. A good song by John Denver. Did a good job with it, too. And at least with the way... The scene was really well done and well filmed. And he lets go, and all these bad guys get killed. Sort of a head start for our leads. I thought, you know what, I didn't like that Mark Strong died, but that was a badass way to die. It's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine named Effrey, and we were talking about it. It's like, really, this is the year of self-sacrifice. You had Lodian, you had Merlin, Mark Strong's character in this movie, you had Blade Runner 2049, and you had The Last Jedi, which did it a shitty way. But yeah, this is like the year of the self-sacrifice. But, you know, that was played very well, I must admit, very well. And even the little... I don't know if I want to call it a twist, but a turn is the Burt Reynolds type of character. The Pedro Pascal's character of Agent Whiskey, he's been not really worked with the bad guys, but he doesn't want the cure to be out there anyway, because he kind of... You get the gist of the story where he had a girlfriend, or maybe it was a wife, who was pregnant with this kid. And they both died from two crackheads who shot each other up and killed her and the baby. And so he's in the mind frame of, no, I don't want these, you know what, these criminals to live. Sort of him being judge, jury, executioner. Which is a bit, like, there's this much part that I understand his reasoning, but at the same time it is the wrong thing. But it's like, okay, that bit part. But they also don't go overboard with we should sympathize the guys. Like, you understand a little bit, but the movie itself knows. Like, there are certain movies that are so oblivious they think that guy would be 50-50 right or 80-20 right or whatever. But, like, this movie knows, okay, you understand a little bit, but still wrong. And you get a fun fight with Colin Firth and Taron Egerton fighting this guy. Which, that's why I said before, I understand why when Colin Firth they had Colin Firth's character mess up the first time in the bar, and then he comes in and helps. Now it shows both of them in their prime, Colin Firth and Taron Egerton, beating this aged whiskey guy, and putting him in the meat grinder. I thought that was a fun fight scene. So, I thought it was a pretty satisfying ending. Halle Berry... She's now become the new Agent Whiskey. I guess for some reason Channing Tatum is going to be overseas as a Kingsman. The lead guy gets married to the princess, and Colin Firth is there at the wedding. I guess they put Channing Tatum at the end because they're thinking there's going to be a part 3. I'm not sure if there will be a part 3 though, because I don't think this film did as well as maybe the makers wanted. Because I'm trying to find the box office. Take a minute to find that. But yeah, I don't know if it did that well. Yeah, it cost $104 million. That's a lot of money, and it only made $100 million in the U.S. Granted, it made $295 million foreign, so $395 million worldwide. But I don't know if that's good enough considering the budget. I don't know if that means. I don't know if that will justify them putting out a third movie. I'd be up for a third movie because I like this characters. Now that you have Colin Firth back, just don't do a. If you do that, just don't do a Blade Trinity like they did with Chris Christopherson. I remember in Blade 2, they brought Chris Christopherson back, which was cool. And then the next one, they just kill him off again, which is one of the many reasons why Blade Trinity fucking sucks dick. If you do a third one, get Colin Firth to do more, along with the lead guy, and bring the level that you brought to that church action sequence, because the action scenes were fun here, but none of them brought to that impact of that scene. But again, the stuff I liked, I really liked. I really liked the ideas of the plots and the villain's plot and the meat grinder hamburger thing from Julianne Moore in her 50s era jungle setting. I liked the lead characters acting. I thought they did a good job like they did in the first one. Getting cool to see Colin Firth back in there since I liked him in the first movie. The action scene in the finale was satisfying. What happened with Mark Strong's character, it was sad, but it was done very well. It was done with respect. I thought the director did a really good job with that. Quite a few fun ideas in there. I mean, overall, at the end of the day, with the movie, you're supposed to be entertained, and I was entertained. I must say I was entertained. It's weird how, and that's not going to make sense, but you'll see a movie that you don't really have much problems with, and you like it on this level. But then you'll see a movie that has more problems, but the stuff you like, you really like. So even though it has more problems than this movie, you still put it a little bit here because the stuff you liked, you really liked. And I know that doesn't make sense, but that's with some of the movies here. For example, Baby Driver. Okay, I liked Baby Driver. I still liked Baby Driver. And when I reviewed it, I didn't really issue many complaints about Baby Driver. And yet, I'm probably going to put this above Baby Driver just for the fact of, one, I didn't mind the lead guy, but I would say I like the lead guy in the Kingsman 2 more. And two, like the stuff I liked, I really liked. Like Mark Strong's death scene and the action finale at the end. And, oh, cool, I liked that character in the first movie, and now he's alive. And I know that doesn't make sense, but that's some, you know me, I have a particular view on movies. Some would say shitty view on movies, but it's still my view, not anyone else's view. So, overall, I did like the film. I was entertained by the film. I do feel it was a step down from the first movie. It just needed to work on its running time. It did not need Channing Tatum's character. You could completely take him out. Give Colin Firth a bit more to do. But I get that's where you're going with for the arc. So, okay, I get that's where you're going with, is that let's try to get settled. But at least the other lead guy, you know, Egerton, it's hard for me to say that name. Give him at least a little bit more to do in the middle. I would say that's my main stuff on it. But again, there's a lot of elements that I enjoyed. Another element. There's quite a few bits in the movie that did make me chuckle or smirk or laugh. One is when the Burt Reynolds type of guy tells the lead guy, oh, here's a tracking device you gotta get on her. And he puts it on his finger, and the lead guy goes, oh, I'm supposed to stick to this up her nose, or... Wait. No, not up her nose. Up her, you know... So, not up her ass either. Different direction. So, I thought that was done tastefully. It's done not as raunchy as you would think it is, in a weird way. Like that shitty reboot of Vacation would do it if they did a joke like that. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, there's quite a few elements that I liked about this movie. So, those are my jumbled thoughts on the Kingsman, the Golden Circle, and the moment I was liking the film. There were elements I didn't like, quite a few elements I did. But when it got to that scene with Mark Strong, I go, you know what? I gotta give credit. The scene brought some of the feels for me. I did not expect that. I gotta at least put in the top 10, even for just that scene alone. I don't know where it'll be in the top 10. It'll be 10 or 8 or 9 or somewhere, but it's going to be somewhere on there. So either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.